refocus and finish strong for this game 82, given everything that's on the line?
Well, yeah, I mean, we no longer control our own destiny, but anything can happen. And obviously, after the game in San Antonio, let's try to finish the season on a high note. It's been a great season for us so far, and a disappointing outcome for sure for all of us, but turn the page. You know, that's what you have to do in this business. We won a lot of games this year, and a chance to close it out with the win.
There are kind of a couple ways you can look at this game, given that you guys can still move up in terms of seeding, but also might not. Is anyone going to miss this game, or is the plan to have everyone go for now?
Yeah, we're trying to win a game. We got everybody healthy, so I think everybody's good to go.
Hey, Coach, this Memphis team really don't know who's playing, so how do you prepare for a team like this? Or you just worry about what you control and do what you can do?
Well, I think that's number one is, do what we do, control ourselves, and get back to playing regular basketball for 48 minutes. With that being said, when we met this morning, we went over personnel. Usually this late in the year when you played an opponent 3 times, you don't really get into the personnel. But we talked about a lot of the guys because I'm sure a lot of our players don't know who some of these guys are. So you want to give them every bit of information to maybe help them prepare to go out there and do their job. So, but most importantly, to your point, we have to get back to playing our brand of basketball. And considering since the All-Star break, we've done that at a very high level, and now it'll be good to get back to doing that once again.
What's the message defensively for your team, playing on a bunch of guys? Some of these guys because you played them just a couple of weeks ago, but like guys like Pippen Jr. and Goodwin and some of these other guys.
Well, I think you have to always respect your opponent. That's one thing you never want to get into because these guys are all playing hard. They had a chance to beat the Lakers the other night. They made 17 threes. They had a bunch of offensive rebounds. They had 14 steals and turned the Lakers over and scored 26 points off those turnovers. So the message is obviously, yes, have game plan, discipline, do what we do, but also the respect in terms of guarding a guy like Jordan Goodwin, Scottie Pippen Jr., Jake LaRavia, all these guys that are playing pretty well for them. You can never just think you can show up and you're going to be fine. You have to give your opponent the appropriate respect that they deserve.
After today, game 82, will you have a day or two to reflect on the regular season and then get ready for whatever position you end up falling in? Or is it, let's wait till the postseason gets done in June and then we'll worry about, or look back to see what this season brought?
Yeah, it all depends on what happens today. If we're able to win and OKC wins and Minnesota wins, we know we're third, and we're gonna know who we're playing, which is different than last year. We didn't know until Friday night who we were playing.
Right.
So now, on one hand, if you're finished third, which is a likely outcome, then we're gonna turn the page. And my attention is gonna go to who we're playing. Is it New Orleans or is it Phoenix? If we win and Minnesota loses and OKC wins, we know we're 2. And now you have to wait until Tuesday night to figure out who you're playing. But I'd say more of the reflecting will probably come in the off season when the ball stops bouncing. We'll meet, give our guys an off day, and try to prepare for whoever we're preparing for.
Are you someone that sat up late last night thinking about possible scenarios, who you might play, how this might turn out, or are you somebody that's just like, let's just wait and see where the cards fall?
Well, is there an option C?
Sure.
I'm probably in between. I stayed up late. I thought about the possible outcomes, and I thought about just doing what we do. So I'm kind of all over the place right now. There's so much out of our control. That's why that San Antonio loss probably is eating at all of us because we no longer have the control that we had worked so hard to get, and you gave it all right back. But that Phoenix Minnesota game is going to be, that's a really interesting game. New Orleans Laker game. I guess New Orleans had an awful travel day yesterday, but that's going to be a really interesting game. So we understand that we have to take care of our business first and foremost, and then we'll kind of see where everything goes behind that. I think it's incredible that the NBA is doing what they do now in terms of having everybody play the last day and all start at the same time. It's different than years ago where that last game on Wednesday, games will be happening, and I remember being in my office in Cleveland watching because so many things were about to happen. as I'm up here, the last thing I'll say is I don't really understand the Eastern Conference playing race. No, I mean, as I have an audience, I figured in the West side, the plane makes sense. If I'm Eric Spoelstra, I'm saying, why the hell are we having a plane? I'm 7 games up, 6 games up on number 9. And no disrespect to Chicago and Atlanta, but there should not be a plane in the Eastern Conference. I think that's ridiculous personally. And when they first started that, it was in the bowl, and the whole premise was if you're within 4.5 games, that will trigger the play-in. But after 82 games, if you're 6-7 games out, you shouldn't be rewarded with anything, in my opinion. Again, that's gonna happen when I'm commissioner one day.
Or would you set it at the 4.5 game kind of benchmark?
Yeah, well, what if Jimmy Butler got hurt? And he's gonna miss the playing game. So for 82 games, I've been 7 games or 6 games better than you. But now I hurt my ankle in game 82 and I'm out for a week. So Miami loses because Jimmy Butler was hurt for game 83. But for 82 games, they've been that many games better. That's just one thing that doesn't really resonate with me. In the Western Conference, that gets close. I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of a game, 2 games separating 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I understand that, but I just don't in the Eastern Conference.
Coach,
Not that anybody asked, but it's
there's-
figured I'd share.
Last one, Marlo.
There's always a lot of chatter, basically
What kind of chatter?
on the internet,
The
and
internet?
just people talking about, well, would a coach like to maneuver his team to play another team? I think I know the answer to this question. Would you ever consider doing that? If you wanted to play New Orleans instead of Dallas, or you wanted to play so and so instead of so and so, would that be an appropriate way to use your coachmanship?
Well, I love the chatter that you allude to, and I just didn't know that your ears were to the street like that. Wow. I mean, you're a man of the people.
Well,
I think it's really, I go back to when I was in New Orleans, and we were getting ready to play in the playoffs, and going into the last game, we could have controlled our destiny. We played the Lakers in the first round, and we played San Antonio. And I remember talking with Monty Williams about it, and I really loved his answer, and I kind of agree with it. You can get into that, but now you start messing with the game. You know what I mean? Like, and the basketball gods are finicky gods, and you have to make sure that you're not going against the grain, if you will. And that year, we had played really well against San Antonio and struggled against the Lakers. You know, but we went out there, we played the Lakers in the first round, and we wound up losing in 6 games. It was a hell of a series with a young Chris Paul, you know, at his best. But yeah, I think it's important that you play who you play, especially this year in the Western Conference. Who are you avoiding? Hey, we're going to avoid this team to play that team? Every team is loaded. I don't think there's a team that you could say, well, you know, that team would be an easy out. If you think there's an easy out in the top 10 teams in the West, I don't think you're really giving the teams the respect they deserve.
so the man of people had a pretty good question there.